All right, so I'm on the phone with a client that has had a recent experience in a guardianship with his mother and obtaining benefits to pay for assisted living care with a memory care unit. And, sir, I know that you and I have talked about this at length, and you know that I'm taking action on this as aggressively as we can. But I don't think that a lot of people know out there the struggles that even a court ordered and appointed guardian has when dealing with some banks. And you are the guardian for your mother, is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. And you're general guardian, which means you're also over her money and estate, correct?
Correct.
And your goal is to obtain a benefit called special assistance to help pay for her assisted living care with a memory care unit. Isn't that right?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. And we've been helping you get that in order, right?
Yes.
So, but we've hit some unforeseen snags. It wasn't the court system, right? It wasn't. It's not necessarily just obtaining the benefit. It's really with a bank, and specifically U.S. Bank, right? In this situation.
That is correct.
Okay. And, I would say this is not the exception to the rule. This happens all the time with big banks, especially national banks that have policies that conflict with state law. But it puts the regular client, right, the customer of the bank at a real disadvantage, I think. So I would love to hear your experience. I mean, you were appointed guardian and told you had to pull and wrangle all of mom's accounts within a guardianship account. Is that right?
Yeah, I needed to consolidate any of her banking accounts into one account with my name on it being the guardian, since I was appointed guardianship, and she was deemed by the courts not capable of making decisions and doing banking and those sorts of things. And then, of course, in doing so, I ran into some major hurdles with consolidating accounts, closing down accounts, and basically the things that the bank was suggesting that I do is still bring my mother in from memory care unit. Although she is not capable of making decisions by herself, she needed to be there to close down accounts. She needed to be there to transfer funds. And not only with her also being required to be there, she was also required to have a state ID. This is someone who's had Alzheimer's for 7 years. The bank was asking if she had a passport. She's never been out of the country. And just the incredible hurdles that I was faced with in making, those moves, albeit, I was approved to do so. It was just, major headwinds.
So, and just to be clear, the court is the one who ordered you as a guardian to bring all her accounts within a guardianship account, right?
That is correct.
Okay. So you go to the bank with a court order, essentially letters of guardianship, giving you authority under North Carolina law to do this. And the banks said, you can't do this. U.S. Bank said, you have to bring in, and this is a Charlotte branch of U.S. Bank, right? Charlotte, North Carolina branch, said you have to go drag your mother into our bank from her home in a memory care unit at an assisted living facility.
That is correct. She had to be present.
She's had dementia for 7 years, right? Or Alzheimer's, I'm sorry.
She's had early onset Alzheimer's for 10 years. She was diagnosed with Alzheimer's probably 4 years ago.
So, and then before the court granted you guardianship, they deemed her incompetent. They found by court order that she is, or order of the court, that she's incompetent she could not do any legal or financial business if she wanted to.
That is correct. She was been deemed by the court as not capable of making decisions.
Right. And you were put in her place as a good son and her guardian, right?
Yes. And to make those decisions.
Right. So it would make no sense. It would be like me bringing a young child in who had not reached the age 18 where they could legally do anything, right?
That is correct.
Yeah.
That's the perfect analogy.
And so it makes no sense why they're making you do this. And then furthermore, once you get her in there to do this, they won't let you because she didn't have a driver's license or state issue ID.
Correct. And she has only lived in North Carolina in the memory care unit facility since March. And when I was in there at the bank the first time, they said, bring your mother back, which I thought was extremely, extremely odd, which I expressed to you. And at that point in time, they could have also said, oh, by the way, she's also going to need some sort of state-issued ID, which they didn't. So, of course, I drive her all the way across town to go to the bank only to find out that although I brought her there, she also needed an ID.
So you made her an appointment to get an ID, but the soonest you can get in is in November, right?
November 17th.
November 17th. And you've applied for your mother because she's running out of funds, right? You've applied for special assistance to pay for assisted living care in North Carolina. And the rules there are if she's not under $2,000 by the end of the month, which is why it was so important in the month of August for us to get this done, right?
That is correct. Well, by the end of month of September.
I'm sorry, the month of September.
Yeah.
I said August. I meant September. Yeah, so by the end of the month of September to get this thing done. And because if you go into October, and she has more than $2,000, and what you've been mandated to do is transfer everything into the guardianship and then pay for her care that's due, right? Pay the assisted living facility. Yeah. And
that is correct. And because of U.S. Bank and the decisions that they made during my 2 trips to the bank, I was not able to fulfill that obligation.
So now your mom has to wait another month to be approved. But then if U.S. Bank holds to this and we can't get them to understand the law in October, then she's going to be delinquent another month of assisted living payments, and the state will not pay, right? Special assistance will not pay until she's under that $2,000, right?
Correct. Which basically means it's an extra $10,000 out of my pocket because of U.S. Bank's reluctance to allow me to use my authority to make decisions for my mom's banking accounts.
Did they ever at any point bring in an attorney or get an attorney on the phone or
no.
get your attorney to get an attorney, their attorney to get with me or look at the law in North Carolina? Did they ever do that or did they care?
Not even close.
Yeah, it just seems like they don't care. I know, we spent a good amount of time, I did, trying to get in touch with them on Friday because it was the last day of the month. And it did not seem like a soul over there had an ounce of compassion for what was going on or cared to understand the law or what the implication, what the ramifications were of their policies, which are not in line with the law in any way. Did they at any time try to understand the law or, just out of compassion or just a general sense of, hey, we need to figure out what's going on here because this gentleman has letters of guardianship and a court order, right, basically allowing him to do this?
No. The discussions that I had with them was, bring your mom back and we'll get this done. I bring my mom back and then it's, she doesn't have an ID, so go get her an ID, bring her back, then we'll get it done. It was nothing around, no one ever showed me any policies of why they couldn't make decisions, contrary to the decisions that they were making. But there was absolutely zero extra effort in trying to find a solution or a remedy for this. It's just, come back.
Well, I'm sorry that you're going through this. These things frustrate me to no end. Really, they make me angry. Okay, it's like it's a tough situation. The law is great when it works and when people understand it, but it's tough when you have large corporations and banks like U.S. Bank and this local branch in Charlotte that really have policies in place that are hurting elderly people. I mean, she could be denied. What happens if she's kicked out? If she didn't have you around to fit the bill, right? Or me fighting for, what we're trying to do here with you as her guardian, then, would she be evicted? Would she be out on the street with Alzheimer's?
Oh, it's almost scary to think about if you don't have relatives that can help at least bridge until Medicaid kicks in. I can't even imagine with someone with zero funding or even zero family that could help what the result would be in this situation.
Well, I'm going to tell you, banks have a lot of money. They have a lot of political sway and power because of that money. Because they have the money, they have that political sway, power with the media, and we've been conditioned to really see them as an authority, I think. And customers going in, listen to their policies, but they can really, really hurt people like your mother. And I appreciate you speaking with me today. I promise you, I don't think you have any doubt, I will be either back on the phones in the morning or there in person to figure out what is going on and why we can't get through. From an attorney's perspective, it's tough for me because I'm used to, if someone really needs to get a hold of me, they can. They can call my office. A lot of people have my cell phone. If you leave me a message, if you send me an email, I'm going to get back to you. But the banks will hide their attorneys, and you're dealing with a teller or a bank manager. And as an attorney, it's hard to, they say they have no inbound call number, right, to their attorneys. They won't take inbound calls. And they're just kind of dictating policy from their throne on high or something, right? And I yearn for more transparency, for more compassion. And if you're going to do business in a state, you need to be aware of those states' laws, and your policies need to follow those laws so they don't hurt people. Well,
it's amazing the banks talk about, they're there to help people. There to help families, and they position and message that way on their commercials. But then you have situations like this, and you find out that that those core principles aren't even close to the way that they actually act. They say one thing and do another.
Well, you listen, just like my mother told me, right? Pay attention to what people do, not what they say, right? Or actions speak louder than words. I wish their actions matched their advertising and their words. I'm going to tell you, I mean, I'm hot on this, and I am absolutely determined to make that happen. Okay. Not just in this individual case and broadly, because you're not the only person that I've had to really, really expend a lot of energy to try to set a bank straight and try to make something happen.
I do hope that this is a division or branch issue, that branch gets a whole lot of training from U.S. Bank and their policies and procedures and how they messed up, quite frankly. Hopefully this is not a U.S. Bank issue worldwide, or at least U.S. based, and this is maybe isolated to one region. But if it is isolated at one region, then that branch needs a whole lot of help.
Well, I'm sure they're going to be thrilled about my video that I'm going to post, an article I'm going to write. But you let me worry about that, okay? I hope I can take it. I thought about it before I called you. Before we talk, while we were talking about it, about the potential ramifications for me. But I don't know, man. I feel like this is a David and Goliath situation, and that one worked out okay. So,
Yep.
all right. Thank you,
Well,
Mr.
you got my full support. I hope, let me know if I can help in any other way, but, sounds like ball's in your court.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
I am very frustrated. And this is why it's so frustrating, because they're hard to fight. Big companies, big corporations have endless amounts of money to throw at attorneys to fight those things. They'll aggressively come after me, and I'll have to defend that. But I would say, kind of like jujitsu or something, I feel good on my back in a defensive position. Okay, I'm good at defense, and I feel comfortable there. This is a little bit of offense, but stories like this need to be told. Something has to change behaviors, because just the sheer unwillingness to care about an individual's situation and cold, hard adherence to a policy that is not in line with the law hurts people. And they need to learn a lesson. They need to be taught a lesson. But because they have such money and such power and political sway and, sway with the media, things like that, there are not ready-made penalties like that just within the law. And maybe there are some that I can dig up. But the only way I know to do it is to go after it like you would anyone else, with saying, look, because of your policies, you've cost us this much money, and this is really on you, and I shouldn't have to pay this. So, but there should be more, because $10,000 is not going to make a broad change. It's just not. There needs to be big penalties for things like this and broad sweeping changes. So I'm Greg McIntyre at McIntyre Elder Law, and we do fight for people. I fight for people. The difference in McIntyre Elder Law is me and our attorneys, my law partner, Britton Begley. We're fighters. It's what we do. It's what we like to do. But it's tough. Sometimes I like to do it. Sometimes I don't. But I do anyway, because especially for something that I can get behind like this and get very passionate about. If you are having trouble with a bank or guardianship, or give us a call. I'd offer a free consult at 704-749-9244, or you can schedule for free on our website at mcelderlaw.com. And it's Sunday. I'm getting ready for Monday, and we'll keep fighting.